What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of TGI's Party Chat. I am your host, Matt Southwell, and joining me this week at well, that's how you do it. No?
Oh, for fuck's... No.
No? That's how you introduce them.
Yes, I know, but that's because that's my name.
Obviously, I am not Matt Southwell. I am Dan Gilbert. Ash, Matt, who you see on pretty much every other video we've done to this point.
Well, provided Ash wakes up, yeah.
Yeah.
I did today.
But yes, Party Chat, which airs every Wednesday, is a time in which we gather around this table and we just talk about one particular topic that means something to us, whether it's something that's come up recently that's quite relevant, or just something that's irked us for a while. This week I'm hosting because this is my topic, and it is concerning the rising trend in the number of big title games that have needed either day one patches or early release patches in order to fix them. Guys, do you think this is something that's going to continue, or something that's actually going to be fixed and stopped because it's just part of the growing pains of the early part of the new generation where you've got games with bigger scopes that they're trying to achieve?
I think it's just a trend that is well embedded now. Unfortunately, it's a shame to say it, but I personally think that it will just continue, and we probably will see more and more of it. I don't think whether I think it's acceptable or not is irrelevant. I don't. Well, okay. I will say.
Okay, you're on the fence about it.
No, I think it is. It is obviously a pain for gamers. We see it all the time, and it does affect your gameplay. But I suppose it depends on what type of problems it is.
Yeah, like some of them are blown out of proportion where they don't really affect the game that much.
Yeah.
It's like a minor detail. Maybe you can't play one particular online mode, but then there are some games that have been completely broken.
Yes.
I think... See, I'm going to disagree with you. I think gamers are a stubborn bunch. A very stubborn bunch. And...
Just a little bit stubborn, yeah.
And I don't think that they will continue to accept this anymore. I think a lot of people now, you'll see... I think if this continues to happen, damages have already been done by the companies. Mm-hmm. They've burnt the trust. People will still...
Shut
for
up.
fuck's sake.
Not you.
No. Whenever I see a motorbike person, I just want to punch him in the face. Because there's no need for that. But anyway, what was I saying?
Gamers, angry, stubborn.
Ah, yes. And so they've lost the trust. They've lost the trust now. So do people now maybe... I think you'll see a drop-off in the number of pre-orders because people are going to be a lot more cautious about pre-ordering and saying, well, if it's not going to work day one, why should I guarantee it? I'll wait and see what happens. And you look at these games that have had troubles. I bought Drive Club for 20 quid because it was on offer, because obviously no one was buying it, so they put specials out, so then people lose money. And
you're right. I think I bought Drive Club when it was released, and there were aspects to the game that were a problem. I know there were server problems in terms of the challenges weren't working at all. There are issues with some games, but then generally the main game was playable. There were no issues with it whatsoever, and I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
So I suppose it depends. It comes down to individual preference as to what part of the game you want to be playing and how it affects you.
Yeah,
but I think you're right in terms of the pre-order.
Yeah, I mean, like, from a personal standpoint, the game that had the biggest update for me was Assassin's Creed Unity. Like, its big fixed patch. It had a day one patch as well.
Yeah.
But its big one was like over 6.5 gigs, 6.7 I think it actually totaled up at.
It was.
And that was basically to re-render the entire game to like help fix like the frame rate issues, because it had gone overboard on the detail so much that people were trying do things, and then suddenly the game would judder and things like that. There's still bugs in it today.
I was going to say,
because I've been playing through it. I'm nearly
still
at the end now, and I've found a few that's still in existence. But like, the game's now playable, but like, Assassin's Creed is a big thing for Ubisoft. I think for them to get that game that wrong.
Okay, let's flip it on its heads. Is it not then that there is so much pressure on developers now to get?
Well, this
games?
is one of the things that I've got.
The developers are not to blame here. You can, if you want to argue my case, please, by all means. But the developers are the people making the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The publishers are the ones putting it out. I'm pretty sure that developers aren't stupid. They'll know if a game's still not ready or working. But some publishers, like Ubisoft, like Assassin's Creed, it has to come out. This game was delayed, remember, as well, by like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So they already pushed it back, but they probably were like, look, this has to come out. We have to release. Imagine the impact for them to not release an Assassin's Creed one year.
Yeah.
It would be huge, because they do it now every year. So they have to release. It's a business. You know, imagine what would happen if, you know, how much money Apple would lose if they didn't release an iPhone that year. It's the same in any business. They need to release them because that's what's expected of them.
Yeah, I get that exactly. But like the thing I'm thinking of, do publishers and developers and everyone now need to look at their development and publishing cycles and move them, as in so they start things earlier if they're trying to deal with big projects, rather than going from point A, which has always been this, to point B of release, which has always been the same. They move point A, or they move point B, to give themselves that extra time that's clearly needed in certain cases, because they're not getting to the right standard by the time you reach that like release date.
You're very...
or are they just trying to do too much?
I think you're very much on like, you've got no time for it, have you?
No, I don't. I think it is unacceptable that if you can't do something to the right standard, don't bother doing it.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean. Like when I'm saying like the growing pains, as in like, have they gone? We've got all this extra like hardware and stuff that we can do. We can put this. We can do that. Have they realised? That they're trying too much too soon?
I think so.
And that's what I mean by the growing pains, because like they need to realise what they can do compared to what's available.
It's not just that though, is it? It's what you've got to consider. And literally, I never thought of this until literally just this moment. Breaking news. But these games...
Matt's had an epiphany.
I know. I get about 5...
Can we get a light bulb above his head at that point?
Matt, you got one on from the shelf.
It's quite good as well. I get about 5 a day. It's a pretty regular occurrence. But anyway, these games... The problems are getting bigger and bigger in terms of... these games obviously never used to. There was a time where the games had to be right before they went out because the internet wasn't there.
Yeah.
It does give them that flexibility. But these games now... They've never made games with so much detail, or quite like this Assassin's Creed game will have so much more detail to it than the previous ones, but they're still only giving themselves the same amount of time to do it. Dan, you're the expert. It was a new studio this year that created this game, I think, wasn't it? Or is it from next year it's a new studio?
No, I think it was this year that they shunted one of the 2 games, because they're doing the 2 games this year, one for the previous, and I can't remember which one they shunted to the new studio and which one.
Yeah, because they built it from the ground up, and I mean, a lot of these people have obviously created new engines, which, and if you look back through history, a lot of games when they release for the first time, like the first engines, they've got problems. So maybe they will be better next year, but I think that safety net that they have does allow them for their standards to drop a little bit, and it's disappointing. But they do have so much more to do, so I think they need to allow themselves more time, because if they're working at capacity before and they now have to make 25% more game, it's impossible to do that extra 25% in the same amount of time.
Do you think it's also partly related to the fact that we now have DLC for stuff compared to like ages back? Like again, while you're talking like because of the rise of the internet and stuff like that, so it's like you got DLC, so they're like, okay, finished main game, got to get on and do that DLC now, rather than make main game, fix main game.
I would like to hope it's not that cynical.
Game.
I'd like to hope it's not that cynical.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like they divert resources pretty much straight away from, right, main game is done, make DLC.
I am sure you're missing one of the main factors in all this, which is money.
Well, yeah, that's why every game is released.
Well, no, that's what we're saying, as in like because they've like
the extra DLC is making more money, but
no.
You're saying
like distribution, like original distribution. That's what we're saying, because they pick these dates because they want the money.
In terms of spending more time doing a game, or employing more resources to do the game, or having better technology to make the game, this is all a cost to them. And so you have to wonder whether they are just trying to do too much with too little resource, perhaps. I don't know.
I'd like to hope
they would be
not,
very much restricted.
based on the amount of money that like Ubisoft. Like,
I know, but it doesn't matter.
We shouldn't keep
the big
knocking
companies for a
Ubisoft.
reason.
But they're just the example we're using.
EA and Activision have had their own games with problems this year. But I look at it. The big thing I look at on this whole thing is that it's not an excuse, because anyone that had online problems, there was a lot of online problems, and you look to Destiny. No game got hit harder online this year than Destiny. I'm sure that was, it was the fastest. We covered it on our Game of the Week show. It was like fastest selling game and everything.
Every Monday.
Thank you. But that worked, and it worked.
Yeah.
So it proves if you allocate all your time properly, then it's not a problem. What they're doing is they're spending too much time putting as much as they can into the game and not enough time on testing. That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I think, personally.
I'm sure it's not the same rule for all, and I'm sure that they all have a requirement for patches for very different reasons. Maybe because they've not tested enough in one studio, and in another it's for another reason. I don't know. They started too late, whatever. Somebody's left, a team has left, or whatever. I don't know. It could be all different, very different reasons. But I think they need to realise that there is going to be problems continuing in terms of the gaming standards. I think we're going to gamers are going to expect better standards from day one, and they've got to do something about it.
All they expect is for the game to work. That's all I want. Is I want the product I'm buying to work as advertised. You don't keep going back to a restaurant if they keep giving you food poisoning, do you?
No.
Dan, you know better than anyone. But if you get crap food, you don't go back. If you keep shipping broken games, people won't buy the next one.
That's the.
But people have to vote with their wallets, because these game studios, they will continue to, like you said, kind of stretch the asset as much as possible. And if they can keep getting away with it, and keep buying the games, then it will continue to happen, like you said. So everyone out there, stop buying games early. Wait for the reviews. Wait to make sure that it's working.
Yeah.
Right. One thing before we wrap up and so on. Like you say that, do you think then, because people are probably more likely to go that route this year because of what's happened in the previous year, do you think there's going to be bigger offers in terms of like the pre-order stuff to try and entice those people back who are like, I've had enough of you, like you've screwed me over year on year on year, like the game is always broken, like, and then they'll pretty much be like, free stuff, come on. Like
I'm not pre-ordering again. Ooh, shiny poster.
Yeah, as in like, do you think we're going to see a lot more of that now to try and counter, like, because there is going to be a movement of people who go, I'm not ordering it day one now.
I don't know. I think there's always going to be an aspect of competition between different games and different studios, and there's always going to be offers on their table. But I think if we saw, an extra selling feature for the next Assassin's Creed or Drive Club 2 or whatever the case may be, it wouldn't surprise me.
I like how you think there's going to be a Drive Club 2 after this fiasco. I mean, I hope there is. It's a good racing game.
It is a good game. Eventually we got there, but
I think the thing we haven't even covered, and I won't spend too much time on it because it is getting a smaller and smaller issue, is what about the people out there that have limited broadband, kind of limited download capacity, or live in suburban areas with crappy internet? What if they couldn't download that 7 gig update for Assassin's Creed Unity? Like, they've still paid. You can't just...
Where basically they'd have to leave their PS4 or Xbox One or whatever running for like a week.
Yeah.
Before it can even download half of it, sort of thing.
Well, some people even as well, like their contracts are they're capped, aren't they? I mean, we have unlimited internet here, but a lot of people have only will have 10 gig a month or 20 gig a month.
That's a very valid point. They should not be penalised for something.
Buying a product they expect to work.
Yeah. Everyone got angry when the Xbox got announced as this always online machine. But if this year continues to happen, we effectively do have always online machines, because look at all those games you couldn't play if you hadn't been able to download the updates.
Yeah.
That's...
Well, basically to summarise, it shouldn't continue.
Yeah.
It probably will. But if it does, then people just need to make a stand on it.
They do.
I think so. I think you do need to.
Yeah. I don't think they're too far gone. I think they've got a time to make up for it, the studios.
Yeah. But if
But
it
has to
if
be
it
this
happens
year.
throughout this year, then they are really shooting themselves in the foot going forward.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can give them a little bit of leniency, thinking
You could
last year was the
argue
first full
new-
year of the new generation. Maybe there were some changes,
TV
okay,
problems.
let's-
Yeah.
But there
We'll
we go.
see. Watch this space.
Okay, cool.
We're
Well,
gonna do
that's
some
that's
wrap-up.
that's the wrap up, isn't it? So that's our opinions on day one patches, pretty much, and broken games and how they shouldn't happen. If you've liked this video, please do all the YouTube spiel and so on that Matt will say in previous
Like,
videos.
share, subscribe.
That's the one. And cheers, guys.
Cheers, Dan.
Thank you. Good
Hello.
job.
Thank
Good
you.
job for your first time. Actually, that sounds concerning. Like, just good job, full stop. I like sitting here.
That's
It feels
what
like
she
I,
said.
Did you enjoy the break?
I did. I feel like I can just
Relax.
like kind of wander off into my own world. It's a lot harder to not pay attention.
Now you know what we normally do when you're
Yeah.
talking. Yeah, we just
See all the pretty artwork that we've put up on the wall expertly with all of our high-tech equipment of pencils and vision.
Yes,
Yeah.
but before we divert too far,
Yes.
thank you for watching, everyone, and we will see you all next Wednesday.